Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening for some of you. There is no announcement. Do not get too excited. I just am starting the stream in preparation for any questions or for the jury to actually come back. They have been sequestered. They deliberated for 6 hours yesterday, called it in the evening. Went back to the hotel. There was some confusion about when they would start this morning. It was said last night when the stream ended that they would be back at 8 a.m. And then there was 8:30. And then there was an email issued this morning that said that they were going to start at 9 o'clock, which they did. They are in the courthouse. They are deliberating, still sequestered aside. Courthouse is open. Judge Boyce and staff are there. Judge Boyce's stream is up and has been up since a few minutes after 9 in Idaho. And it will stay up for the rest of the day, as is his procedure, as he has stated is his procedure. While they are deliberating, while the jury is deliberating, the courthouse will be open, and he and the staff are there for the duration of the day. It's unusual to have court on a Saturday, but Judge Boyce said from the start that once sequestered, they would go straight through. And he did let the jury, prospective jurors, know during the jury selection process that that would be the case. They have already deliberated longer. This jury has deliberated longer than they did to find Chad Daybell guilty of all 8 charges in his indictment. They are deliberating for the death penalty or life without parole for the first 6 charges, which involve the murder in the first degree and the conspiracy charges, which he received guilty on both counts for all 3 victims, J.J. Vallow, Ty Lee Ryan, and Tammy Daybell. That's basically the update, just to go live to get everything ready, because I want to be able to pop in here as soon as anything happens on the judge's feet. Let me just get to, oh gosh, why is this not cooperating? All right, hold on a second. I was trying to pull up a comment and my screen just went bluey. Goes to show, no question he was guilty. It's just a matter of how guilty. Yes, and I don't envy the position that this jury is in, because with the death penalty, I would imagine it's an uncomfortable thought to put someone to death, to end someone's life. They're giving it the deference it deserves. I do think perhaps last night they did do a vote and they decided to sleep on it. And I'm hoping that this morning they will dot their I's, cross their T's, and come to a unanimous decision either way. And if not, let the judge know so that it can be released. I really think that they have gone over and above. This is the 34th day of actual testimony in evidence and penalty phase. We're on day 34. There's been 2 days in the penalty phase. They've really gave a lot of time so far. That's a lot of days of trial. Okay, they must be exhausted, and they must be just doing due diligence the best they can to come to the best decision. But remember, in the state of Idaho, their decision needs to be unanimous. And under the guidelines of jury instructions, there's several processes that have to happen, especially if they have 1 or 2 holdouts or they're divided in their decision. They need to make sure that they take the time that is necessary to try to resolve any issues, aka convince each other one way or another. in the jury foreman's responsibilities to make sure that enough votes have happened, enough attempts have been made. If they are definitely deadlocked and cannot come to a unanimous decision either way, they need to let the judge know that. And then it will not be the death penalty. It will be life without parole. Life in prison without parole would be the option if the death penalty is not chosen. Hey, Mandy, Sue, Shill, T. King, Rocket Couch. Hope I didn't panic anybody by pushing that live button, but I want to get this stream up and running. Hello, Sarah. Sarah, I've been talking to you since before they even started deliberating. Good morning, love. Good morning, and hugs. And I hope you're doing okay. Remember, put yourself first at all times. Take care of yourself, Sarah. There's an emotional situation over there at the courthouse. I did hear that Jamie Daybell's family had arrived. I don't know if there's been any rumblings of any other family showing up to the court open. People were in line right away. There are journalists inside, sitting, milling around, waiting, speaking, making their posts and doing their commentary. Uh, there's a lot, from what I heard, there's a crowd outside also, not even inside the courthouse. This is a huge event in the area, I would imagine, and it's an emotional event. Uh, it was quite emotional, all of the impact statements yesterday. I myself was moved beyond words. I needed several moments. I was glad I was not on the mic. I give credit to those journalists and reporters and even the spectators that are able to compose themselves enough to even speak on it. I, for one, am going to be relieved once this penalty phase is over, even though we will have another because the insurance fraud charge will not be sentenced, regardless of the decision today by the jury, until Judge Boyce makes a separate uh, schedule for that. It is not included in these deliberations. I just want to say, in case no one else has said it, I think we all appreciate the hell out of you, Sarah, for letting us have the locals' perspective. Absolutely. I can't emphasize that statement or agree with that statement enough. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for giving us your perspective there and for letting us know locally what is going on there. And I can imagine it's very hard for the community. And you've got lots of support here with all of us. And we appreciate you. And thank you for saying that, Rocket Couch. Very much, we all, I think, agree. Hello, Ashley. So anyway, I made a new banner for today because the other banner is just a little too lighthearted for the seriousness of what is going on today. And they wanted something dedicated just for today because, as Rocket Couch had pointed out, a lot of people will just see that it says court in recess and not know if the feed is actually still live. And it is a good way to indicate it so, and it does make it helpful for some. Rocket Couch is not the only one who mentioned it, that it was helpful for them. So I found a compromise between those that were slightly offended that I even had the banner up yesterday, and also, for those that actually found it useful. So making a customized banner that does show appreciation and does actually just tell us why we're here, I thought was the best compromise, the best way to go forward on that issue. So, and I do welcome all your opinions on it. As I've said, my DMs are open for questions, for discussion, for complaints and opinions even. I do try to address things in my own way, either publicly or privately with you. I can assure you it'll be addressed some way. So, on that, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say except for that I'm waiting along with everyone else to to see how the jury is going to proceed today. Um, I just I find it remarkable that they've already spent more time deliberating on the penalty phase than they did on whether he was guilty or not. You're very welcome, Sue. More rain there, Shil, huh? Eh, I'm sorry. It's sunny here today for a change, but I did have storms the last couple of days on and off. Very unsettling. Mhm. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the court is in recess up like I did yesterday, and we'll be popping in and out as it goes, like every couple of hours. I can't imagine the jury wants to stay there all day, but it is up to them. Judge Boyce gave them total control over how long they deliberate each day and how long they will be available. The court. There is a 30-minute, I think it's still 30 minutes, announcement for the attorneys in the area and the families to show should they come with their decision. They notify the judge, and then the judge makes a 30-minute announcement before it goes live. Um, Getting those announcements is not always, or notifications rather, not announcements, is not exactly easy. We have to depend on usually the court administrator or one of the court clerks will go into the courtroom and advise the galley of the 30-minute notification after the attorneys have been notified and they have called for Chad, if he's not on premises already, to be brought to the courthouse. Now, Chad Daybell has the right to be there during the deliberations also, not with them in the room, of course, but in the courtroom. He can be in the actual courthouse somewhere in another room, um, uh, under guard, to make it easier to show up immediately. Now, whether they have done that for today, I do not know. Okay. Mm. Thank you, Shil. Good luck with the party today, Sue. It is very hot there. It is. It's going to be warm here today, I believe, also. All right. Okay, guys, if you don't have any questions, believe me, if you do, please put them in the chat. I will definitely be monitoring on and off. You can put them in the live chat, or you can actually post on the back of the video. I'll be monitoring on and off all day, like almost constantly, because I, like all of you, I'm waiting and just want this to come to its conclusion. Uh, it's been a long haul, many years, and I'm sure the friends and families of the victims just want to get through this phase and move forward. You did, Rocket, when I posted that I'd be going live? Is that the one you got? Rocket says he did get a community post, and I'm very curious on how that's working, because YouTube is telling me that if you have all notifications on, when I post on my community tab, you should get a notification. Yeah. Mm. I know some people weren't getting notifications. Someone did come forward and tell me that on their cell phone, if they updated their YouTube app to the latest version, they started to get notifications. It came in just now, so I guess it's 20 minutes behind. It's about right for YouTube. Okay, so now I know if I'm going to do something like that, to give it at least a half hour to an hour if I want notifications to go out. So thank you for the information, Couch, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to use it. To use that commenting on the community tab to help get things like this out. I wonder if that's in your settings, Shill. If it's in your notification settings somehow for YouTube, if there's something that we set up. I'm not sure. Because others are telling me they get both all the time. So I don't know why you would get one and not the other. I think it may be in preferences in YouTube. You can say if you want all or part. I'm not sure. It's been so long since I set up my YouTube channel, well before I actually came out here with content. I think I've had this channel since before 2016, actually, like a long time. I actually don't remember the original start date, but I'm sure it's on the channel somewhere. I could find it. I do know I had it for a long time before I even thought about doing content myself. Well, if anyone has any information on that notification setup, let me know. Couch says there's probably some kind of algorithm stuff involved too. Stuff you watch more probably gives more reliable notifications. Perhaps I see. Okay, I know I do get community tab notifications for a lot of the channels that I subscribe to. So, and I don't recall any special settings that I had to do, just that I said all in the notifications, and that is all that YouTube is mentioning to me when I question them. So, but it's hard to get a live person. You know how that goes. Okay. All right. So I think that I'm just gonna leave this up for now. I appreciate that you're all here. I greatly appreciate you all keeping me company when I do come on live. You know, it's nice to have somebody to talk to instead of just talking to myself, you know. I have all notifications on. This is from Shill, and I think I may have had one notification in the past for a community post of yours. But then I don't get many community post notifications, maybe 10 in the past year. Hmm. Well, that's interesting. Since YouTube like is actually promoting that we should use our community tabs more than we do. They should let you know when we are. You'd think, you know. Anyway, it's not like it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the idea that YouTube just plays both sides of the story all the time. All right, I'm off to have another cup of coffee. I hope you all treat yourselves well. We're all waiting. If you have questions or something you want to discuss, use the live chat, use the back of the videos. But I'll be here on and off all day. And again, thank you for joining me. I'm going to keep this up as long as Judge Boyce keeps his up and the jury is still in deliberations. This live will stay ongoing, like yesterday. And also, just an announcement, I am working on the timestamps for yesterday. They are all messed up. I just didn't I was exhausted after. I just didn't finish it like I normally do right after. But I'm going to get on it on and off today and get that all corrected for everybody. But there are long periods of just court is in recess. And that is because we want to keep it up and document as long as Judge Boyce is up, we'll be up so that it's more convenient for coming in and out and we don't miss anything that he has to say. Any announcements, any questions from the juries, or even not one word of the live verdict do we want to miss. We want it all recorded for you, back and forth. Okay. Hey, Mary, welcome. I'm just about to dip out again for a little bit. And but I will be back in a little bit. I'm thinking, maybe every 2 hours or so. If you guys want to talk, I'm sure there are things you need to get out. I'm sure, just checking in, but I'll leave it up to everybody. Participate as much or as little as you want. You know how it is here. To each his own. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it will happen today. Mary Adams says it will happen today. I'm pretty sure we will get one today too. I mean, I can't really say with any confidence because what do I know? It's just a feeling I get because of the time and consideration, the issues, how fast they came to the decision of a verdict, right away. Um, all of that kind of weighs into why I'm thinking that it'll be today. The fact that it's a weekend, the fact that they've already had 34 days of trial and deliberations and now penalty phase, I would imagine they also want to make a conclusion here and just be free. They are sequestered. They can only go to the courthouse, into their hotel rooms. They don't even get to go downstairs to the hotel bar. You were right about the timing of the verdict. Yes, you were, Mary. Yes, you were. It did come in when you said, oh, so we shall see. We shall see. Okay. I'm hoping you're right too. I want today. I was hoping before lunch, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hello tomorrow, kiddo. I think personally that they slept on it because they ordered dinner before going home, and then everyone is here today. They likely thought they knew, but wanted to make sure. So 1 or 2 hours. Well, they are already 1 hour and 40 minutes into deliberation. They started at 9 a.m. There was some confusion about the start time, but they actually did start a little after 9 a.m. Judge Boyce's live came up, and that means jury was in deliberation. Okay. I think no matter what happened yesterday, it was a very good idea to sleep on it overnight. And I was thinking along the same lines tomorrow, kiddo, that, perhaps they took a final vote. Perhaps they knew where they were leaning, but they decided to sleep on it and then come back. And then again, it could be the opposite. They could be divided. It only takes one person to hold up a unanimous vote. One person could be doing it, or several. This is a really serious matter, and people have strong opinions, pros and cons, for the death penalty. And although they were asked not to be biased in advance and were informed it was a death penalty case, and they went through voir dire in regards to death penalty, it's still your personal biases go with you no matter what, and although it may not come to the forefront, it's there. Okay. And they may not realize how strong they feel about something until they actually have to do the deed. They actually vote. It becomes a whole nother issue. It becomes bigger, So I really feel for them. It's not an easy thing what they are doing right now. And I truly appreciate the time and service that anyone gives when they offer jury service and do their duty to the court system. It doesn't work without you, without people dedicated and part of the process and willing to participate and not, try to get out of it so much or whatever. I know that some can't because of other obligations and stuff. I get all of that. But if you can and you're chosen, that's how the system works with each of us participating in some way like that. It doesn't work without us. It needs to be justice for all, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I'll be back probably a couple of hours. I don't want to give like an estimation just in case I don't come through because I don't like keeping my word. But I will tell you this. If I hear one peep from this stream coming out of that feed from Judge Boyce, I will be here. I will be here with you all, listening and watching every second of it. Okay? All right. On that, I'll see you all in a while. Oh, and I'm leaving it silent. No music while we wait. And that's not because of deference or anything. It's because I want to be able to hear the most minute sound that comes out of that feed from Judge Boyce's courtroom. And I'm sure you all understand. I don't want to miss it. thinking it's a beat of a song or a misplaced word. I want to be here immediately for the feed and for you all. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm back because we just got an announcement that they have a verdict. Yeah, like no sooner did I push the button to leave for a while, then boom, it came right through. They will be in the court in 15 minutes. This is exciting. I know you all just disappeared. I hope you all will come back because there is definitely a verdict. Yep. I am anxiously waiting now. Now my stomach. Hey, Shield, my stomach is in knots. Katie, they have announced that they have a verdict and they're going to go live at 11 o'clock in 12 minutes, according to my clock. So we're here. We are here. This is wow, nerve-wracking. I can't believe I pushed that button. Yeah, you regret nothing. I swear, I didn't even get like halfway to the door of my room from the computer screen when it flashed across. Yeah, I'm just it's now I'm going to try to like reach people. That's the thing. I'm hoping I did put a community post tab again. I am posting everywhere that I can. Just it's a lot. I don't even know what to say. Hi, Katie. Tomorrow, kiddo. My brain, we're all holding hands. Exactly. We're all here. Hey, welcome back, couch. You regret nothing. I regret nothing either, except for that. Well, you know, you're all coming with me as I go walk into the other room and get some coffee. I cannot sit here and not sip some coffee. It's gonna. Um, this is okay. Hopefully that wasn't too noisy walking around. But I need some coffee. Okay, all posts made. There we go. Get this coffee going. You're gonna hear a little bit of clunking, but I'm not. All right, let me mute for just a second so I'm not pouring this in your ears. Ah, thank you for tolerating the mute. I'll tell you, I need to mute when I pour my coffee now because every time I pour my coffee and somebody hears it live stream, some idiot either comes in my private DMs or posts all over Twitter that I'm peeing on stream. Yes, people are strange. Did you shout at your laptop? Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning there tomorrow, kiddo. You are dedicated. I guess you couldn't sleep, or did you wake up from sleep that early? Mm. Mm. Okay, so I did. I wonder if we have. I wonder how Sarah's doing and what's going on outside. I hope that everything is good for her. Mm. Oh, you're used to this time to work? Like you get up this time to work? Wow. That's early. But I understand it, like because even though I'm on the East Coast here in in the United States, like here on the East Coast, but I'm actually more on like other side of the world time, upside down time I call it, more like on Australia or New Zealand time. Like that is basically the time I'm on based on when I sleep and when I'm up doing things and everything like that. There has just now been a formal announcement that instead of 11 o'clock, it's going to be 11:15 instead of 11. So it'll be quarter after, but I'm staying in here. I'm not going, even though that's another 15 minutes away. And I hope that they do not continue to do that, like back and forth while we wait. Like just keep, adding minutes to it because that's going to drive me out of my mind. Oh, So yeah, it's official. The notification went out that it is going to be 11:15, which is 1:15 for us, not EST. That is the I have to delete that. That is yeah, it's mountain time. Okay. It's 11:15. Um we're getting notifications from journalists that are posting on Twitter from inside the courtroom that Tammy Daybell's family is now upstairs waiting outside the courtroom to be let in. Um, the 11 o'clock notification was incorrect because they normally give around 45, anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. But yeah, it is going to be just past the hour for us. I am so nervous also, T King. And thank you. I'm so glad you didn't leave either so that you can miss it because I'm so frustrated with notifications. Hey, Anna, you made it back. We're going to have a verdict reading at 11:15, or at least they're going live with the court. They have announced that they are going to be on Judge Boyce's YouTube at 11:15 and that the verdict is in. They sent out official email to those that registered, especially the journalists and all, and that is what they were reporting. They erroneously reported 11 o'clock first, but then when the official notification came out, like they were just going by what was said inside the courtroom or out in the hall, like a court administration or a clerk, like, it got passed around, that it would be 11. But when the actual notification went out, it said 11:15, and it's in writing from the court. So yeah, Rocket Couch, the best time zone is EST. Oh no, MDT. You're in MDT, aren't you? Yeah. Shall we do a poll about what the decision might be? That is an excellent idea. Thank you, Couch. I think we shall. Let's see. We'll put three options. Okay. Death penalty, right? Without parole. Or hung. I don't even know if that's going to be an option, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. Okay. And let me pin this to the top. There we go. Everybody, if you'd please vote. You did not miss anything there, Anna. We are basically right on time, eh? Um I was getting announcements that everything was going crazy on Twitter as far as with StreamYard streams, but it seems like my stream is running just fine on Twitter this morning. Um it looks like we've got 15 minutes, give or take, until the verdict proceedings start. Oy, oy. My stomach. How are you all doing? How are you all doing in the chat? I hope you're all taking care of yourselves. Now, Nate Eaton from East Idaho News, he is at CrimeCon, I believe, but he actually did make a post that that the verdict was in. His associate Caitlin Hall at News with Katie she's also a reporter for East Idaho News, and she is actually at the courthouse in the courtroom, or actually waiting to get inside the courtroom, right? It does sound like Larry Woodcock is there also. There's about 20 to 30 public and media members all milling about. Larry and Kay Woodcock have arrived. Tamley's family was on their way upstairs. It appears that it's filling up. I mean, Kay and Larry Woodcock arrived at the courthouse about a half hour ago. Tammy's Daybell's family was also reported to be there, but not upstairs yet in the courthouse, in the courtroom area outside the hallway. There's also a lot of Rexburg law enforcement officers have showed up to the courthouse. It does seem to be that there's going to be a very full galley for this, Remember, they are deliberating only on the first-degree murder and conspiracy charges for the death penalty. The insurance fraud charge will not be sentenced today, but at a later date set up by Judge Boyce. Hold on 1 minute. My phone is going crazy. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. All right, I'm back. Yeah, sure. That's what I posted. Yeah, it'll be at 11:15 Mountain Time. I'm glad you're treating yourself well, Anna, eating chocolate ice cream. Uh, Also, it was less than 2 hours, just like someone predicted. Yes, I do believe Mary. It was Mary earlier that said within 1 to 2 hours when we were talking just a while ago. And also, Mary was very clear yesterday. She had made a prediction about when the verdict would come in, and she was pretty much spot on about that one also. So, let's see how that goes. I am definitely just sipping on coffee. My stomach is just definitely. I think the most I'm going to be able to handle today is a banana. Like my stomach is doing flip flops. Of course, it's not good to put coffee on an empty stomach that's having that issue. But hey, we do what we got to do. And coffee is life for me. Well, we'll see. Oh gosh, the waiting is the hardest part, isn't it? We got what, 11 minutes till they go live again? Chocolate is good for your mental health. Hold on a second. Reduces hormonal disturbances and pain, and ice cream is dairy, so like bones and stuff. Yeah, it's true. We could call chocolate ice cream health food at this point. It definitely is a feel good thing. I love ice cream. Remember the track record too. It might be like 11:30. You know what? Fair point there, Rocket Couch, because yes, I mean, as well, Judge Boyce means well. He keeps us informed, but they are often late. He says 8:30, it's 8:45. He says 9, it's 9:30. Um, I mean, I'm hope it's not like the other day when we had like a 2-hour delay and we heard nothing. Like that was crazy. Well, I think it was almost 2 hours. It seemed like 2 hours. Yes, and pretend that it's healthy chocolate ice cream. It is health food. You're doing a body good. Yeah. I'll tell you. I wish I had some chocolate ice cream right now. That actually sounds delicious. I am a big ice cream fan. I often, if I'm not that like hungry or I get an urge, I will actually skip dinner to have ice cream instead. Like really, at this point in my life, it's like why not? Dessert first. Enjoy yourself. Life is short. Mm. And sometimes there's just, not enough joy. So find our joy where we can in the little things. Mm. I am going back over the socials. Apparently, they're still having everyone wait outside the courtroom, which I was hoping they would have opened the courtroom by now to let everybody in. It's already about 20, 30 people there, from what we understand, and there are more coming in as they go. Yeah, grown-ups can eat ice cream whenever we want, right? It's like that's one of the best parts about being an adult, I believe. There, Rocket Couch. Yep, there. I tested this. And why is my stream acting so slow? Grown-ups can eat ice cream whenever they want. Absolutely. It's the best part about being an adult with all the pressures that we have to deal with now. So we're going to find out. Will it be life in prison or the death penalty? You know, part of the discussion that I found interesting on the socials since all during yesterday and last night, was the fact that Chad Daybell, oh, Sarah, I'm sorry. I just saw this comment. I'm sorry. I just interrupted my thought here. Having major anxiety. I'm so sorry, Sarah. You need to take care of yourself. You know, you need to do what's best for you. Yeah, I know the frustration and the pressure. Like, but please, know that it's coming to an end. Either way, Chad Daybell was guilty, okay? In either way, whichever way the verdict goes for this penalty phase, his life is over as he knows it. There will be no relationship with Lori going off into the sunset. There'll be no big cult that he gets to build and influence all these people. There'll be no building of Tent City and the building he wanted for the 144,000 or whatever it was he was working on. All his big manipulations and plans are burnt to the ground, regardless of the decision the jury makes today. Life as Chad Daybell knew it has been over since his arrest and is now cemented and final that it'll never be the same again. His freedom is lost. I can understand, Sarah, that your community has taken such a hit, and it doesn't seem fair. There are bad apples everywhere, right? But just understand, he doesn't represent your community. He is one evil man with his own agenda. And even though he lived there and he attempted to be part of that community, he no longer is. And you can take comfort in that. No more deaths because of his cult. Exactly, Anna. No more people at risk of his light and dark labeling, his death number strategies, their outcast routine, their casting out routines, calling people zombies and deciding that they should be dead to be free because they know better, right? They're on a mission. Hmm. That's all over with. We hope that the healing has started. We hope that everyone in your community can support each other, through this healing process. Hmm. And we're here. Say whatever you want in the chat. There's no judgment here. Get it out if you need to, or don't if you can't. Because we get it. We understand. Either way. It's 3 minutes till quarter after. I'm wondering if Rocket Couch is going to be right. And it's going to be more like 11:30. To me, I'm becoming settled with it now after all this time. And I have no personal ties, just following the case. But it has been emotional at times and brought me to tears many times, even recently, you know, not being able to speak after some things I heard in testimony. Mm. I am hoping that this will give peace to many, or at least start the process. And it says, Sarah, your community is free from this terrible person. You're safer now. They're all safer now. Sure has. Hope the feeling is easier after today. I do hope so. I hope his children leave the school. Might be obvious that they need to leave after this. I don't know. I mean, they're both school teachers there. I'm sure it's difficult for Chad's children, but it was their decision to stand by him and testify the way they did. And with that comes judgment from the community and all those that heard it. Mm. But I feel for them. That is their father. And they can be blamed for their words and their attitude, yes. But they can't be blamed for the deeds that Chad Daybell did. That's all on him. Did I see the Lawyer You Know video, Mandy? I do watch him regularly. And I was discussing that in the chat, that with Chad Daybell not doing allocution and not wanting mitigation to be addressed like that, does he want the death penalty? Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. I think he just didn't think there was anything to say. I think he thought there was no point. I think he finally realized he wasn't being heard. No one was sympathetic. I saw a sad look on his face yesterday, a resigned, sad look, at least while we were in court on camera. But I heard several journalists post that when we weren't in camera, he was laughing and jovial with John Pryor, even after the guilty verdict. The day that we were hearing jury instructions on the death penalty, while we were on break, he is joking. Even on the day of the impact statements, hearing all of that in front of the jury, he was quite reserved. But then he was like lighthearted. I think he's insane. I do. I think there's something missing in that man. I know there's something missing in Lori Vallow. You know. Several people think he wants the death penalty. I get it. I think he's just reserved, that he has no control at this point, as much as he'd like to. Control freak that he is. Tomorrow, kiddo, in regards to the school, many people are upset with Emma's testimony. They feel she outright lied on certain issues. I don't know if she lied. I think she thinks she's telling the truth. I think she believes what she says. It's obviously that they are tainted against law enforcement, the whole family, from the testimony of everyone that testified, at least the 3 that came forward and testified. However, more of the concern seems to be with Garth. There is a lot of pushback from what I'm seeing and hearing, and I'm not so sure if it's in the area. Maybe Sarah could answer that, but Garth having a relationship with a student and then going ahead and marrying after the death of his mother and during this investigation had caused some concern with people, and I don't blame them. It's kind of like what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of thing. It's like, don't judge me, but I'll judge you. It's a family that can then get together and agree that adultery is okay because Chad might be a religious person makes no sense to me whatsoever. The Daybell family themselves were divided on that. Some of them think it was horrible the way Chad went off with Lori and the treatment of Tammy Daybell. Some still hold on to the notion that they can try to build better relationships with the children. And perhaps that can happen once Chad is away for life and this is resolved and his influence is limited. Mandy, they said 11:15, but it's already 11:18. And like Rocket Couch had reminded us, Judge Boyce is often trying to let us know and keep us informed as far as timing, but he's often late. And this is a good, fair point, Rocket. I was thinking that also, that based on his own beliefs, in this whole system of belief that he has encouraged others to have. He may even be hoping for the death penalty, expecting that he's going to be in a good place after this life, in a better place. Yeah, you know. And that was part of my thought process also, you know, that he's not afraid of death. That's part of his religion. He's not afraid of death. Well, Garth with the student, but with Emma, she's the teacher who doesn't think the police are okay. I'm a teacher, by the way. We have to be neutral and teach right from wrong according to the law, not our personal beliefs. Yes, I agree. And from what I understand, Garth is now a teacher also. That he received a second or third grade position. I do believe, or perhaps Sarah can clarify that later, but I do believe it was second grade. Katie says he was smirking at times, but Katie does not believe that he wants the death penalty. Yeah. I don't believe he necessarily does either. Oh, they are probably both hoping for the death penalty so they can be back together. Do you mean Lori tomorrow, kiddo, when you say both? Because Lori didn't get this. She's just going to have to wait. Yeah. And if she had a conscience, I'd be happy that it was weighing on her for the deeds that she did. But her statement in court at her sentencing kind of proved to me she don't have one. She literally believes all the nonsense that she's been spouting, and it's insane. It's insane. The way that she just said that everybody was in a better place and that no murder actually happened. They're all grateful to her for releasing them, and they love her, and they don't think anything was done wrong. Like, that's insane. Like, wow. She's up for the death penalty on the next charge. I'll have to check. To be honest, because it's in Arizona, and I've tried to avoid Lori Vallow lately, or Lori Daybell rather. She shouldn't even have the Vallow name anymore. Lori Daybell. She just it's tough to deal with her. Oh, here we go. That's enough
Thank
of
you.
me.
Please be seated.
We're live.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We're on the record on case CR 2221-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. This is the special sentencing proceeding that has been conducted last couple of days. The jury's been deliberating. The court is advised that the jury has reached a verdict on the special sentencing proceeding and the special verdict form. I'll note the state's present with the 4 prosecutors who have tried the case, Mr. Pryor and his client, Mr. Daybell, present as well. I'll also note there's a courtroom conduct order in effect. I'd appreciate everyone complying with that, as you all have throughout this trial. I will note on the record before we get to the verdict that we did have a jury question yesterday that the court answered, and I've provided the question and copies of the answer to counsel. In addition, a second question came in today. I did go on the record with that question and answer with counsel and the defendant present, returned that response to the jurors. They've now reached a verdict in the case, so the court is going to have the jurors brought in and have the verdict delivered for reading.
While the jury is being seated, I find it curious that they had questions, but we didn't get to know what they are. And he's not saying so now either. He didn't go live for either question in talking with the attorneys. And perhaps that would be because of the media coverage and to prevent by, I don't know, or to keep the media frenzy down. I'm not sure. But everything else has been very transparent in this process. So that is curious to me. I'm going to have to try to figure that one out. Again, Chad and John Pryor are not looking at each other. They're not even facing each other. Their body language is opposed to each other. They really do look like a couple who had a disagreement. Someone had made that comment yesterday, and it's resonating with me today as I look at them.
All right, please. Jury's all present. Count for, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court understands you've reached a verdict on the special verdict form. Is that correct? All right, Mr. Bailiff, if you would please return the special verdict form to the court, I'll review that. Ladies and gentlemen, the verdict form is somewhat long and complicated. The court is going to take a moment to review the form.
We have a very full galley, as you can see. I'm trying to discern if anyone from Chad's family is there for him, his children. But I cannot tell. Oh. I do see the members of Tammy Daybell's family. I do see Larry and Kay Woodcock. I do believe that's Colby Ryan and his wife off to the side there, but I can't, not as familiar with Colby's look.
All right, the court's reviewed the special verdict form. I do find it's been properly filled out by the jury foreperson as well as correctly signed and dated. At this time, I am going to request, Madam Clerk, Ms. Holstein, if you would please read the special verdict form. If you'd like to remain seated or standing, it's a long form and will take some time to read, but however is most comfortable for you, Madam Clerk, you may go ahead and read the special verdict form into the record.
In the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the State of Idaho, in and for the County of Fremont, State of Idaho Plaintiff versus Chad Guy Daybell Defendant, case number CR 22211623, Special Verdict. Part 1. We, the jury, render the following verdict on the alleged statutory aggravating circumstances. 1. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tylee Ryan was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 2. has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Joshua Jackson, hereinafter J.J. Vallow, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 3, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tamara, hereinafter Tammy Daybell, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 4, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tylee Ryan was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity? Yes. 5, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity? Yes. 6, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tammy Daybell was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity? Yes. 7, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? By the murders or circumstances surrounding their commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life? Yes. 8, has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The defendant, by his conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the murders at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit murder which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society? Yes. If you answered no to each of the above questions, you do not need to answer any other questions. Simply have the presiding juror sign this verdict form and notify the bailiff that you are done. If you answered yes to any of the above questions, then please answer the questions in part 2. Part 2, we, the jury, render the following verdict on the weighing of all mitigating circumstances against the statutory aggravating circumstances. You are to only answer the following questions for those statutory aggravating circumstances for which you answered yes in part 1. 1, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tylee Ryan was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 2, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Joshua Jackson, hereinafter J.J. Vallow, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 3, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tamara, hereinafter Tammy Daybell, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 4, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tylee Ryan was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 5, with respect to
Did we lose the mic?
It's back. 5, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances.
Do we need a new mic? Okay, we're going to get a separate mic. Thank you.
I'll read 5 over.
Yes, start with 5 again. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
5. Okay. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 6. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tammy Daybell was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 7. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that by the murders or circumstances surrounding their commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 8. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the defendant, by his conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the murders at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. We unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. Once you have completed part 2, please have the presiding juror sign this verdict form and notify the bail if you are done. Dated this first day of June 2024 and signed by the presiding juror.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk, for reading through the verdict form. Ladies and gentlemen, the court will note that given the complexity of this special verdict form, just I think in fairness to all those in attendance, including in particular victims and the parties, the layman's explanation of this verdict is that the jury has made a finding that it would be appropriate to impose the death penalty as it relates to counts 1 through 6 in the amended indictment. And so pursuant to Idaho Code 19-2515, the court is directed that the defendant would be sentenced to death on those counts. The court will take up a concluding sentencing proceeding. I also have additional counts of insurance fraud I've discussed with counsel. Moving forward in a consolidated hearing, the court's proposing that we do that this morning, waiving the right to a pre-sentence investigation report under Criminal Rule 32A. Before I get there, just let me ask at this time of the jurors, is this your true and correct verdict that's been rendered in this case? Very well. Does the state wish to have the jury pulled on the special verdict form?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Does the defense wish to have the jury pulled on this special verdict form?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. As I mentioned, then that's the result of the verdict form. The court would then proceed with additional sentencing on those 2 counts, as well as the counts 1 through 6 determined now by the jury. Mr. Pryor, is the defense willing to move forward with a consolidated hearing on those counts this morning without a pre-sentence investigation report?
As previously indicated, Judge, yes, we are.
Okay, is the state going to be ready to proceed with a sentencing on those issues as well?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, I do want to take a brief recess just to briefly prepare for that, given the verdict, and I will come back on the bench. It really won't take long. I would suggest that a 30-minute recess will come back on the record. The court will conclude with that sentencing hearing. So if everybody could be back here by 10 after, we'll have the jury return one last time to the jury room to wait for that final sentencing hearing. We'll conduct that in the presence of the jurors also, and then I'll have concluding instructions for the jurors. So we will be in recess for 30 minutes. We'll come back for that final stage of the proceeding. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so wow, in 30 minutes, we're going to have the complete sentencing. I am, like a few of you, I'm surprised that they were able to do it, and they did it so concise. Every single count. Every single count. A link, Mandy, to what? What do you need the link to? Did you not hear what he said, Mandy? I'm confused. I had it up the whole time. Oh, you mean a link? Oh, god damn, I'm like, so, oh yeah, hold on. Absolutely. Calm, Mandy. Thank you. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yes, I think that's what she made. It just like, I'm in a stupor right now. Hello, Aaron. I get it. It's a weekend, Aaron, but like court was on Saturday, so here we are. Here we are, and oh my goodness, like I cannot. Wow, they actually did it. They just gave Chad Daybell the death penalty, or actually cleared the judge to announce that sentencing in 30 minutes, and he will be doing also the insurance charge at the same time, which is not going to really add much, but here we go. Because the jury is sequestered, Aaron, they went through court today on a Saturday. It was up to the jury to deliberate as long as they wanted yesterday and into this morning, and they have found Chad Daybell not only guilty of all of his charges, they have decided that the mitigating factors conclude that he can go for the death penalty. Hi, Mandy. Oh my God.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, you sound good. Nice and clear.
Okay, well, if it gets too loud, let me know. I'm outside. I told you I was doing yard work and I literally sat
Okay.
on my steps to listen
Wow.
because I'm just in shock about all of this. So,
Did you hear every single mitigating factor they agreed unanimously was sufficient
I did.
for the death penalty? Every single one.
Yeah.
And they didn't need them all, but they agreed they were all there. Remuneration,
Yeah.
threat to society, heinous crime. Wow. I'm surprised, actually. How about you?
I'm, you know, I actually got a little emotional, and I didn't get emotional for him because I have no sympathy for him, but I got emotional for the jurors because how hard is this as, a human being to take on this civic duty of something just, yeah. And
It
I got
is.
emotional for the families and I got emotional for everybody that's there. I was watching, you could see Colby a couple times kind of lean over. I don't know if anyone noticed that.
Yeah.
He kind of like leaned over and put his head down and, he lost everything.
Yeah,
His
that
sisters,
was
his mom.
Colby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was Colby. He was in the aisle, wasn't he, on a chair in the jeans?
Yep.
Like I thought that was
Yep.
him. Yeah. But I don't recognize his face as often, as clear. But he definitely looked quite emotional. And I know Tammy Daybell, some of her family was there. I could see on the side. I saw Larry and Kay Woodcock. Um, I I hope that this is actually the final, like not the final piece, but a large piece in actually feeling that justice is here and they can finally breathe, move forward. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
immobilized for 4 years in grief. And the way many of them spoke yesterday about that immobilized grief that they had because it wasn't over yet, because this part still had to happen. It really resonated with me. The holding pattern they've been in until this all gets settled. It,
Yeah.
it, I thought of them a lot last night. A lot.
Me too.
Did you see
Yeah.
what was really astounding to me was the immediate change in Chad Daybell's body language. He was sitting there, chin jutted out, head up, like he was looking down at everybody like he normally does, shoulders straight, all tough. And then now completely slumped in that chair, shoulders slumped down, chin to the ground. Yeah, I think it just hit him. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a piece of me thinks that he wants this, though. He doesn't want to be, how dare you put an exalted ruler in prison for life?
Well, exactly. And what about like this whole belief that it's going to be a better place anyway, in that,
Yeah.
he'll be free and released and he's just going to come back. If he really believes all the bullshit he's been telling everybody, I mean, let's be frank, then of course he wants the death penalty, because not only does his cult become like he's the martyr of his cult and he'll be famous for it, it's all true. Like it's a better place. It's all nothing to worry about. Don't be afraid of death, because
Yeah.
it's a blessing. And but now the look that I see when he slumped in that chair, that looks like the prophet doesn't actually believe all of that. I don't think he really believes it. That kind of cinched
Yeah.
in me that he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe all the bullshit that he was talking about. Yeah,
Well,
I agree, Juju. She says his body language at the result really didn't make it look like he wanted the death penalty. I think he was surprised. I really do. Yeah, don't you realize I'm a prophet? That Katie, like you say, like it's like exactly the arrogance, and I do admire what you said about the jury too, because not only is jury duty in itself such an honor in a commitment to people, where you have to walk away from your real life for a little while and dedicate yourself to this process, but a death penalty case is all the more serious, all the more heavy weight on them. I don't
Yeah,
think any of
I
them
agree.
took lightly that they would be taking someone's life. I don't. I don't think it's in our human nature to just want to take somebody's life, regardless of how heinous a crime is. It's not an easy decision at all. And there was a lot of rules and regulations around it, but they did it, and they gave it deference. They actually deliberated longer on the penalty phase than they did on the guilt verdict.
Yeah. I mean, are we surprised?
No, I'm not, after hearing all the evidence. But I do understand why Pryor was going and saying like, hey, there's no remuneration here. Chad didn't get a dime, but that's not true. Chad traveled to Hawaii on Lori's dime from the death of JJ and Kylie. And and he did get the insurance money for his wife. Like, you cannot deny that fact. I don't care what Pryor was ridiculous in closing. Absolutely ridiculous. Well,
Yeah. Well, and now I'm
but he's doing his
wondering
job.
if the insurance company will come after him.
Well, if he's convicted guilty, I think so. I think automatically, because you're not supposed to benefit from it at all. If there was any like shenanigans on a death, there's clauses. Insurance companies don't want to pay out anyway. If there's a way, they'll get it back. But whether there's money there to get back is another thing. You know what I mean? But if it at least tangles up Pryor getting some more money, I'm happy. I hope they go for it. Just to make it aggravating for Pryor, he doesn't get his full pay because they got to pay the insurance money back. That would be interesting.
You think they'll come after Emma?
It
'Cause they
depends
know
on
that
who's
Emma
listed
got
as a
like 9
beneficiary.
because they
I
know
don't know
now,
how they.
according to this testimony, that she got a bunch of that money. Well, she got what, 18,000? I guess it's not a bunch of it, but
I don't know about third-party mitigation of recoup, but I am going to
yeah,
look into it because that's very interesting. Because then, if they can prove that she benefited erroneously, but they have to prove she was part of all of this. And when it comes to Emma, I'm not really pleased with her testimony. It's apparent to me that she literally misconstrued facts. I don't want to call her a liar, as some have, but let's just say I think she believes what she's saying, but she dead ass wrong about some key facts in this case. In
no,
some
she lied about that southwest south wind. She
Oh, she did.
lied.
She tried to take the hit for her dad. I do believe that she definitely was trying to protect him in that space. And I don't think that they'll be coming after her for perjury or anything like that. It would be too hard to prove. No one was there and saw it. Nobody could prove whether it was her or him. But the fact that she's actually coming forward and saying it proves that he talked to her about it, that she even knows about it, proves that there was an issue, and that she, to me, in my mind, proves that there's a cover up there about it.
Yeah,
They were trying to get it so that dad, and also talking about how sick their mother was all to protect their father, because there's actually no evidence of her being sick. And it has caused a big problem within the family. And I really feel for them, because Tammy's family wants a relationship with those kids, but it's becoming difficult because they know that they're lying about her being sick, and they're covering for their dad. And,
yeah. Those statements yesterday were heartbreaking.
Oh, very, very much so. Especially uh with Tylee and JJ. With the relative, the aunt, the woman who was saying that she was trying to develop a relationship with JJ, and she saw him for actually really was. She saw both of them for who they were. Flawed kids. I mean, Tylee was an angry teenager. JJ had his issues, but she saw them with love and light, and wanted a relation, and was building a relationship with them that she was looking forward to, that she can never have now. And
Yeah,
to hear her say that during the visit, she knew that Lori was actually just beyond help with these beliefs, that she was totally writing her off, totally just writing off the mom completely, and only wanted the relationship with the children. That spoke volumes to me about what it must have been like in that household that last year.
yep.
It's ever since ever since Lori met Chad, and had most of her crazy beliefs solidified in her mind.
You talk about two of the most ridiculous people on earth to get together. I mean, look at the destruction that they caused.
Yes, yeah, and that they're never going to be together again is great. And I hope that weighs heavily on Chad, that he did all this to be with a woman that he's never ever going to be with. And Lori too, that she's never going to get what she wanted. Because I don't think anything else really matters to them. I don't think they have enough conscience or acceptance of the things that they did wrong to actually have regret or guilt or anything in their minds, penance for what was done.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
Can you
hope
hear me
in one
doing
way
yard work?
it weighs on them. Just a little bit. It sounds like you're lifting weights or shucking stuff around or something, Yeah, I don't know. It's like Liz says, the Douglas family really came out in support of Tammy, and I think that helped the jury too. They really did, and I'm glad that they got their time, because, you know, we've all watched this from the beginning, and it's the focus has been on the missing kids and what happened there. And even though it was Tammy Daybell was brought into it when they discovered that, you know, that there could be an issue with her death also, and brought her forward, there wasn't a lot of focus on the family and what that actually meant to them. And when they were describing that every new thing they found out was like another cut and another opening of the wound, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, that really resonated with me, because if you go back and you look at everything unfolded, I can't even imagine what it was like for her parents and her brothers and her sisters and all of those who loved her, to hear about that to hear how horribly she was wronged. You know, it to take her away like that, and to find out it was bad enough to think that she died so young for no reason at all. Then to find out that
Yeah.
someone actually did it, actually planned it. Horrible. I really felt for them. But this opened up a whole conversation the other day in regards to the death penalty. I think our country is still quite torn about it. So I'm surprised in Idaho that this jury actually did it as quickly as they did. But death penalty wouldn't be approved in the state if the people there did not want it. And they voted it in. So I guess in the communities, they do see a need for it. So
I think it goes back to ouch. I just stuck a pine needle in my hand. It goes back to the heinousness of the crimes, you know.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
I'm gonna go back and chat because my
yes,
husband just got home. I will be in
yes,
chat listening and all of
yeah.
that, but we're gonna be doing some yard work and stuff. So I'll be here. I'll just be in chat.
Yeah, he's coming back in like 14 minutes. Thank you for coming up and
All right, I love you. We'll talk.
And sharing with me. Yes, I love you too. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Wow. So like the link, you know, anyone else that wants to speak, this is your live too, everyone. You've been here through the whole trial, through all the phases of this. You've been in the chat, you've been participating. If you have something to say, you're more than welcome. You know, just let me know. I'll drop the link again in 2 seconds if anybody wants to come up. You don't have to use camera. I'm not going to be crazy about camera or not camera today. It's going to be a little loose. I know the channel was advertised live when I first named it. It's now clear view. It's a little more open. I won't go on camera. I'm sticking with my avatar. It's my brand, but it doesn't mean I'm going to hold anybody else to it unnecessarily if need be. StreamYards is easy to do on your phone. If you're leery, you just have to let it access your mic and your camera. You can change your camera to off and add an avatar, a picture from your phone. It's pretty simple to do in most cases. Yeah. I wondered that too, you know. Liz says, I was surprised as well. I felt there was at least one holdout, and Anna says the same. I wondered if there would be a holdout. It only takes one. But last night when they went as long as they did, and now that we've heard actually the questions, you can see how they had to address each mitigating factor separately, and also each count of first-degree murder and conspiracy separately. So for there was one for JJ, one for Tylee, one for Tammy each time, and they have to go over the evidence that they heard and how they came to the guilty verdict for each one, and those mitigating factors of remuneration, the heinousness of the crime, and also whether or not Chad was still a threat to society, which they agreed he was, and I do too. I worry about him in prison. The fact that he'll be on death row now means he will not have access to the prison population. Death row inmates, on an average, are locked up 23 hours a day with only 1 hour of recreational time. They have limited visitation and privileges. For me, as long as it takes for him to actually be put to death, this is the life sentence he deserves. Locked up with absolutely no freedom. Okay, not socializing with the rest of the prisoners and able to tell them and prophesize to them and stand there and be the great prophet that he thinks he is. He should not have that right to turn others anymore. Liz, Vinnie Politan, I'm not sure about the spelling either, but I know it's Politan, right? Said sometimes a jury would decide on the death penalty right away, but would sleep on it one night and see how they felt in the morning. And I think this might be what happened here. I think they were pretty much in agreement yesterday, but they had to go over the whole form and they wanted all to sleep on it to make sure that they were all good, because no one wants to have regrets afterwards. Okay. Yep, Anna, he's going to grow up old and alone now. 23 hours in that cell every day. And that just goes to show the criminals out there who think you don't have to lay hands to be guilty of the crime. If you organize it, if you know about it, if you're contributing in any way, you're just as bad. And you're going down. Like, I think the way that law is written, those charges are written, is just. I was actually pleased to see changes like that to murder one. Oh gosh, I hope not. Katie 915. She wonders if there is some other lunatic out there who might be promoting Chad's cult. Well, there's always someone. And his books were public. I mean, he published these books, and so anyone could read them and anyone could use them. But they should also look at the whole story, though, before they do, and see that he's been excommunicated from his faith's community because of these outrageous beliefs and going off kilter and calling himself a prophet. You know, be wary of anyone who names themselves a prophet. Would not a true prophet not need to be named? I ask. I ask to a room that really doesn't want to answer, because who wants to get into a religious conversation? Not I. Everyone can believe as they will or what they want, you know. But you cause harm to others, I have an issue. And Chad Daybell caused a lot of harm. He will be in maximum security prison right there in Idaho, right in Ada County. Wow. Is that where death row is for men in Idaho? Wow. It's a capital case, so I wasn't sure if they would imprison him right there, but I bet because of the way that everything goes, they would have to be right there in the state, right there under because that's where all the expense would be, and that's how they vote in death penalty based on all of that. T. King says that there is let me just put this up so I read it correctly. There is a YouTuber talking about the small group of ex-Chad followers that still believe in him. They are trying to get the police to look into them. Wow. I wonder if that group is all against law enforcement too. I wonder if that's a popular belief. I know it's something Chad was promoting. It's definitely evident in his children that testified, including the son-in-law. Oh, hidden truth. Yes, Lauren said so. Tomorrow, kiddo, she said that the jury looked like they were content with solidarity, no smiling but committed, and that came from her live. And Lauren has been in the courtroom most of the time, and she's been saying, like, you know, how the jury looked and presented about note taking and stuff. So if she said they looked solid, I believe her. I wonder though, Liz, is Emma or Garth or any of the children part of those ex-Chad's followers that still believe in him? Hmm? I wonder if he actually says like where he will be put on death row as part of the sentencing, but we will be finding out if he comes back on time in less than 6 minutes. Timestamps for this video, of course, are all going to be done after the fact. I have not entered a single one today. Feeling just a little bit off on my normal routine. Just like many of you all, just like the jury was. It's a Saturday. We very, very, very rarely see court on a Saturday. And I am still a little stunned that they actually did it. They actually unanimously voted on every mitigating factor for the death penalty. And clarified that they could not find a reason where it would not be unjust. They found no reason not to give him the death penalty. And that's astounding to me. I can only imagine. This has all been quite the ride, would you not all say? It's been long, and I truly appreciate that so many of you have been here every single day. Hmm. The Idaho Attorney General, Raul Labrador, put out a statement. In it, he said that he hopes the conviction of Chad Daybell in the jury sentence provides a measure of peace to the families of the victims, Tylee Ryan, J.J. Vallow, and Tammy Daybell. Wow. There was a statement from Tammy Daybell's cousin, Patty Later. She said, "We want to thank everyone who put in countless hours of work to get where we are today. Law enforcement, the prosecution, the media, and all of you who watched and listened to the trial and prayed for us. We will miss Tammy every single day of our lives, but we have some comfort knowing we will see her again. And if you have been touched by Tammy and would like to support her foundation, the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation, to put books into the hands of children and increase their literacy, please consider donating to the Tammy Daybell Foundation." And she thanks us all, everyone. I'm going to look for a link for that just to make it part of the process here. I'm glad they put her maiden name in there. Here is the link to the foundation, and I will be adding it to the description of this video. Sure. Tammy used to work as a librarian at the school. Literacy was important to her. She loved children and animals. It's nice to see a foundation that's going to be doing good every day going forward in her name. Yeah. Mm. Katie, you're in Atlanta? Yeah. And Liz, you're near Augusta, Georgia. Katie 915 says she thinks the prosecution did a better job selling the case against Chad than against Lori. And I think you did too. But I do believe if the death penalty was on the table, the verdict may have gone that way for her also. They came back quick on Lori Vallow. And often juries, when there's crimes against children, especially if the mother is charged for those crimes, they can be very harsh in their judgment. And I actually think they would have come back quicker with the death penalty on Lori Vallow. The only thing that they may have questioned was her mental health. And also, that's part of her appeal that's going on, was whether or not she was actually well enough to stand trial if her mental health was compromised in some way. Although I feel that she is quite insane in regards to her beliefs and her disregard for others, I also think that she knew what she was doing. I think that she planned it, she organized it, and she definitely knew what she was doing. Yeah, there are more people from that area around, aren't they, Liz? Yeah. It's nice to see everybody from all over here. Yes, she was caring. Tammy was getting ready for her yearly book sale. Yep. Yep. I'm going to find out, Liz. I'll make a community post when we get closer to it, but I believe that trial is still scheduled for August of this year. But even if we don't get to live stream it, we will cover what happens for sure. Juju says, Claire, I agree completely. Lori is crazy, but she knew exactly what she was doing. And Chad did as well. Yes, although I feel that they're missing something as far as being decent human beings. Like they're missing the empathy gene. Like they're missing like compassion for others. They are truly self-absorbed and lack the ability to look in a mirror and see the real deal. I don't think they're crazy. I think they know right from wrong. And I think they made choice to do the wrong thing. I got no problem with justice being on their heads. I really don't. And I do believe the jury would have came back with the death penalty on Lori if it was allowed to be on the table. It actually irks me a little bit that she's enjoying popularity in her prison life. Like that she gets the attention she craves. Like it bothers me. I think true justice would be to deny her that. I guess I'm a little petty. I don't know. But it bothers me. Exactly. Just because they've got those delusions of grandeur doesn't mean they don't know right from wrong. Exactly. They definitely knew that they were doing wrong in society's eyes. But as Lori said, doesn't count for me. Exactly. Because, wasn't Lori the one that crazily enough said she spoke to Jesus and Jesus was okay with her physical relationship with Chad, even though he was married to another woman? But that he couldn't get a divorce because he'd lose his standing in the church. Jesus wouldn't like that. Yeah. But, they bent their beliefs to fit whatever they wanted to do. I believe this. I'm popular in prison. Yeah, you're okay.
Thank you. Please
Oh,
be seated.
hold on. We're back.
All right, we're back on the record on CR 22-21-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell, concluding the special sentencing hearing that's being conducted where the court intends to sentence the defendant on the counts in the amended indictment, including the insurance fraud counts. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very well, Mr. Bailiff, if you'd please have the jurors brought in.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm just reading the chat. Juju, I agree with you. It's absolutely ridiculous. It is. Yeah. This is nerve-wracking. Chad is still in the slumped shoulder position. Chad, prior running away, like what?
All right, please.
He just wants out of there, huh, Juju? You think of prior? Hmm. I do think he wants to be done with this trial. Who could blame him? I also think that man was well over his head.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we are back on the record on CR 2221-1623, continuing the special sentencing proceeding. The jury has returned its special verdict. The court would note that pursuant to Idaho Code 18-4004, which is the punishment for murder statute in Idaho, that crime in murder of the first degree can be punished by death. And under Idaho Code 192515 subsection 7A, that states that if the jury finds that a statutory aggravating circumstance exists and no mitigating circumstances exist, which would make the imposition of the death penalty unjust, the defendant will be sentenced to death by the court. The court's reviewed the findings of the jurors in the special verdict form. They've taken their time through these deliberations to return that verdict. And so the court will proceed with sentencing first on counts 1 through 6. And again, this is an unusual hearing because the sentencing hearing's already been taking place. We've heard from the victims through impact statements and arguments from counsel. That's already taken place. In addition, a pre-sentence investigation report is not to be ordered in these hearings, so the court does not reference that. The court then orders as follows, and this will be contained in the court's judgment at the conclusion of the case. As to count 1, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the murder of Tylee Ryan, upon the jury's finding of guilty and return of the special verdict form, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court therefore, on count 1, the defendant is sentenced to death. On count 2, the first-degree murder of Tylee Ryan, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court therefore, on count 2, sentences the defendant to death. On count 3, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the murder of J.J. Vallow, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court therefore, on count 3, sentences the defendant to death. On count 4, first-degree murder of J.J. Vallow, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances, when weighed against the mitigating circumstances, do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court therefore, on count 4, sentences the defendant to death. On count 5, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tammy Daybell, the jury, having found beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances, when weighed against the mitigating circumstances, do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust, the court therefore, on count 5, sentences the defendant to death. On count 6, the first-degree murder charge, the murder of Tammy Daybell, the jury, having found beyond a reasonable doubt and returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances, when weighed against the mitigating circumstances, do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust, the court therefore, on count 6, sentences the defendant to death. The court's next going to take up counts 7 and 9 on the insurance fraud counts. Before I do that, from the state, are there any questions regarding the court's judgment as it relates to counts 1 through 6?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, moving on to insurance fraud, then the court will note that I am required to go through a sentencing proceeding on this. These are separate counts that have not been determined in the special verdict form by the jurors. Some brief procedural history. Mr. Daybell was charged by amended indictment with counts 7 and 9 insurance fraud under Idaho Code 41293, which is a felony. Mr. Daybell pled not guilty to those counts on June 9th, 2021. Thereafter, this trial was held, and as part of the findings of the jury in their verdict, they did find the defendant guilty of both of those counts. The court has considered, in lieu of a pre-sentence investigation report, the information that I've heard throughout this trial. I also heard information regarding these charges in the previous trial held last year against co-defendant Lori Vallow. I've also heard information received during the special sentencing proceeding relating to those counts as well, and have considered that information in lieu of a pre-sentence investigation report. And I'll also note the defendant waived the pre-sentence investigation report and is permitted to do that, and the court can allow that under Criminal Rule 32A. At this time then, before I move forward with the sentencing on counts 7 and 9, I will inquire of the state, is the state wishing to make any sentencing recommendation as it relates to count 7 or 9?
And Your Honor, just for clarification, were the insurance frauds count 8 and 9?
As listed in the amended indictment, they are listed as count 7 and count 9.
Thank you. Co-counsel just clarified for me on that. Your Honor, the state is prepared to make a statement. First, I would indicate for the record that in relation to the sentencing hearing, the sentencing portion handled yesterday, the state did make our best attempts to reach out to all statutory victims to allow them the opportunity to be heard by the court. And those that the court heard from yesterday were the ones that had wished to make impact statements. While not directly related to the insurance fraud, I did just want to make a clear record of that. In relation to the insurance fraud charges, in light of the sentence that has been imposed by this court and by the recommendation of the jury in relation to the other charges, the state would indicate we think that the victim statements covered everything the state could say. While the insurance charges again are attenuated to it, we've lost 3 individuals that the state can do nothing to bring them back. And so the best we can do is move forward in seeking justice on their behalves. In relation to the insurance counts themselves, given the sentences, we would recommend this court impose jail time and have that, or prison time, impose a sentence and run it concurrent with the imposition of the other sentence by this court. I believe they carry up to 15 years in prison. We'd recommend they run concurrent with each other and with the imposition of death in this case. We would also recommend restitution in the amount of $130,000 to LifeMap and $300,000 to Primerica. As part of that, we would also recommend a waiver of any fines or court costs in this matter in order to allow restitution to be paid if any money is available to go towards that.
All right, thank you for the state sentencing recommendations. Mr. Pryor, does the defense wish to make sentencing recommendations as to, I'll do them collectively, counts 7 and 9, the insurance fraud counts?
No, Judge, there's nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, is there any objection to the requested restitution amounts of 130,000 and 300,000?
Judge, we may need to set that out at this point, but I'll let the court know if that changes.
All right, I'll permit 30 days for the scheduling of a contested hearing on restitution. If that becomes an issue, we could conduct that hearing most likely remotely on a Zoom hearing if it becomes an issue. At this time, I will ask, because I need to on these counts, before I impose any sentence, Mr. Daybell, you do have the right of allocution, which permits you to make a statement on your own behalf in any mitigation of these offenses. Is there any statement you would like to make before I proceed with sentencing on those counts?
No.
Very well. The court then, having considered the information previously referenced, finds that pursuant to Idaho Code 41293, which under subsection 4 indicates a penalty of up to 15 years of prison on each of those 2 counts, the court is going to impose a prison sentence of 15 years. So a 15-year sentence will be imposed on count 7. The court will take under advisement the issue of restitution requested by the state. The court will not impose any fines. The court also will impose a 15-year prison sentence on count 9. Also pursuant to the same statute, take under advisement the issue of restitution. The court will note in imposing these prison sentences that I have reviewed Idaho Code 192521, which requires me to go through certain criteria about the imposition of a prison sentence versus a possibility of parole or a lesser sentence. And I would note that the rationale for the prison sentences is that these are intertwined with the murder charges for which the death penalty has been imposed on those counts. And when the court looks at the sentencing factors under 1925-21, I would note in mitigation that Mr. Daybell has been incarcerated an extensively long time in local jail and has a previous law-abiding history, and I have considered that. I've also considered that he's always conducted himself respectfully, from what I've heard from all of the jailers that have ever interacted with him over the years that he's been incarcerated for these charges. However, the court finds under Idaho Code 2521 also that any lesser sentence would depreciate the seriousness of these offenses, because this life insurance was obtained based on the murders of individuals and procuring life insurance payouts unlawfully. And because of that, it's the most serious of offense, that circumstance that could lead to that. In addition, imprisonment will provide an appropriate punishment and deterrent for the defendant and others, and will also be a deterrent for the community as well. So the court, having then concluded with the sentencing on that, I will not order any fines because the defendant's previously been deemed indigent and has received the death penalty on these murder counts, and find it would be futile to have an order of fines in the case. So with those remarks, then the court typically would address the defendant further, but in this special sentencing proceeding, the victim impact statements and the evidence has already demonstrated on the record, I think, the seriousness of what's occurred. And I don't find any reason to further delve into the court's rationale other than what was listed in the statute. So unless there's anything further, that will conclude the sentencing, but I will address the post-conviction issues that need to be addressed at this time. Does the state have anything further then on the sentence and count 7 and count 9?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Daybell, in this case, given the sentence that was imposed in counts 1 through 6, there's a special appellate and post-conviction procedure for capital cases, and an automatic stay may be in effect. There's a statute that's Idaho Code 192719 that sets out certain deadlines. I am providing you and counsel with a courtesy copy of that statute, but I will note a few of the deadlines that are listed in there. Under subsection 1, when the punishment of death is imposed, the time for filing an appeal shall begin to run when the death warrant is filed. Number 2, the death warrant shall not be filed until 42 days after the judgment imposing the death sentence has been filed. Number 3, within 42 days of the filing of the judgment imposing the punishment of death, the defendant must file any legal or factual challenges to the sentence of conviction. There's other important and critical deadlines that are contained within that statute, and I am going to provide a copy of that to Mr. Pryor to ensure that the defense is well advised of those post-conviction rights that would apply in this special proceeding. I'll also note that there's an additional rule, Idaho criminal rule. If you'll give me a moment, I think it's 44.2. Criminal Rule 44.2, and that's the mandatory appointment of counsel for post-conviction review after imposition of the death penalty. That rule is also applicable in your case, and a copy of the rule itself is going to be provided to you and counsel to ensure that you're well aware of any post-conviction rights you may have. With that, then, the court is going to conclude the special sentencing proceeding. Is there anything further I need to take up from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your abiding by the court's courtroom conduct order. We'll be in recess.
All right, please.
I'm really not sure what else there is to say. No need to apologize, Rhonda. I just wanted to make it clear that although I have respect for everybody's opinion in regards to the death penalty, I don't want to discuss other cases regarding it right now. I'm happy to do another stream at another time and think that each case is valid and each opinion is. Well, let's just keep it to this case currently and in regards to our feelings on the death penalty in general, if we can. I find that to be more respectful to the victims here. And that is my focus, just so that we're all clear. I truly love our legal system, and I have great respect for it. Judge Boyce has ended his feet. They have concluded. I'm not sure how much more I can even contribute to the conversation at this point. To hear Judge Boyce actually say the words took my breath away. It is, like I said before, I'm of two minds. But for the victims, I am grateful that they can move forward with the healing process. But for those against the death penalty, I do understand it's a flawed system and that it's never easy to be sure. But what I can say with confidence is that this jury took it seriously and they did not weigh anything lightly. They took more time to go for the death penalty than they did to even convict him of guilt, to even say that he was guilty. I think they did their duty, and we all need to respect that. And we need to respect the process. Whether you believe in the death penalty or not, in the state of Idaho, it's valid. And those people in those communities, the taxpayers of Idaho, voted it in as an option. So it is law in Idaho. And they used it in this case. Yes, Liz, I think the prosecution did an outstanding job. A long, arduous job. The investigators, Ray Hermosillo, I hope he finds peace. I hope that this releases him. I know they still have to testify in Arizona, all of them. But I hope they can move forward a little lighter, knowing some justice has been served. This manner. The guilty on all counts resonated. Chad Daybell came into this part of the face with his shoulders squared back and his chin jutted, looking down his nose like he did through all of this trial. But when he heard where they were going with the death penalty, that they had agreed that the mitigating factors existed, he slumped. I think it finally hit him. Yep. Oh, I wasn't directing any of that at you, Rhonda. Please don't misunderstand me. That's a general statement that I planned on making anyway. Okay. Oh no, I didn't really think that at all, Rhonda. So please don't think that I was speaking to you or on you. And you don't need to apologize. My statement on the death penalty was something I planned on saying anyway. Yeah, I see that. I will put links on my community tab to the actual statements that others make and perhaps record videos for the Chad Daybell trial file that's here on this channel. But I hope you all understand. I really don't know if I can stay live much longer. For me, this is concluding also. It's been a long time, at least this part. And I'm going to need a little time. That took my breath away, seriously. All right, guys. Thank you so much to each and every one of you that have been here for this, for keeping me company, for keeping the discussions going, for your interesting questions and areas of information that we looked into. I appreciate and admire each and every one of you. And thank you for this. It's nice not to be alone in this at all. And that some of you really enjoy it as much as I do. Even the hard parts like this and the cases themselves. So carry on with your weekends. Be good to yourselves. Okay? And thank you. I don't know when I'm coming live again, but I will be back. I'm not going away. I just need a moment, All right, everyone. Have a good one. And thank you again to each of you. I do truly appreciate you all.